causes were close to her heart. They also placed her in the crosshairs of powerful figures who perhaps saw her as a threat to the status quo. Diana's immense popularity and genuine compassion for humanitarian efforts might have made some within the monarchy and the establishment view her as someone who could destabilize the carefully maintained public image of the royal family. With her growing independence, she became a voice of change, advocating for issues that were not always seen as part of the royal agenda. She used her platform to speak out against landmines and AIDS, causes that were once overlooked or stigmatized, demonstrating her willingness to challenge established norms for the greater good. Diana was not just a princess. She became an icon of compassion and resilience in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. Her ability to transcend her royal status and relate to common people made her an even more powerful symbol. She was known for her empathy, for shaking hands with those suffering from HIV/AIDS during a time when fear and misunderstanding surrounded the disease. She sought to bring attention to the neglected, the marginalized, and the voiceless. This was a side of Diana that the public adored, but it also made her a force to be reckoned with. She refused to conform to the passive role typically expected of royal women, which in turn may have caused tension within the royal family and other powerful institutions. Diana's efforts to shine a light on important social causes, combined with her unwillingness to follow the usual royal protocols, earned her both admiration and criticism. In her personal life, Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed was seen as controversial, especially after her very public separation from Prince Charles. The media frenzy surrounding their relationship likely added to the pressures she was under. Dodi, who was a wealthy Egyptian film producer, was also the subject of much media scrutiny, particularly after his tragic death in the same car crash that killed Diana. Many speculated that the relationship, which had blossomed in the final months of Diana's life, may have played a role in making her a target. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the situation is how the media coverage of her every move was simultaneously her source of strength and vulnerability. The same press that adored her also ruthlessly invaded her privacy, further isolating her from those who could have protected her. While the public remembers Diana for her grace and beauty, her ability to confront difficult issues, and her hands-on approach to charity work, few truly understand the immense pressure she faced from within the royal family and the world around her. As her popularity soared, so did the scrutiny and expectations placed on her, and it became evident that some elements within the royal circle may have been less than supportive of her independence. Diana's behavior, her ability to speak her mind, and her constant quest for personal fulfillment were seen as a challenge to the traditional monarchy. It was as if the world expected her to remain silent, to stay within her royal bubble, and to conform to a mold that was clearly at odds with her true character. In many ways, Diana was a woman ahead of her time, someone who used her privilege to advocate for those who had none, and someone who was not afraid to break away from convention. The tragic circumstances surrounding her death only fueled the suspicion that her life had been cut short by those who perceived her actions as a threat. Burrell's claims raise a crucial question. Was Diana's life taken because of the way she chose to live it? Her boldness, independence, and outspoken nature may have posed a risk to a system that prized control and stability above all else. The idea that her tragic death was orchestrated by those within the very system that was meant to protect her suggests a dark undercurrent of power, manipulation, and deceit. If this is indeed the truth, it adds an even more heartbreaking layer to Diana's legacy, showing that sometimes those who claim to care for you are the very ones who can turn against you when your actions no longer serve their interests. If Burrell's allegations are correct, it means that the royal family and its powerful allies may have played a role in silencing one of the most influential figures of the 20th century. His claims make us question not just the circumstances surrounding Diana's death, but also the broader mechanisms of power that could have been at play in the highest circles of British society. The possibility that Diana was killed not by chance, but as a result of a premeditated plan, challenges the very foundations of the narrative that has been told for decades. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that those who hold power, even in the most celebrated institutions, may go to any lengths to preserve their image and maintain control. These revelations have the potential to upend everything we think we know about Princess Diana and her death. It forces us to look at the role of the monarchy, the media, and even those closest to her in a new light. Burrell's statements suggest a world of deceit and secrecy within the royal family, one in which personal ambitions, control, and power may have been placed above loyalty, love, and truth. If the truth about Diana's death is ever uncovered, it may reveal a level of betrayal and manipulation that is hard to comprehend, but it also holds the potential to shed light on the darker side of a system that has long been shrouded in mystery. Ultimately, what makes this case so troubling is the unresolved nature of Diana's death. Despite the various investigations and public statements, the lingering doubts and unanswered questions leave us with more uncertainties than answers. For those who loved her, who admired her for her courage, compassion, and authenticity, the idea that Diana's death may have been more than just an accident is a painful reality to face. But it is a reality that calls for further investigation, more transparency, and a willingness to look beyond the carefully curated public image of the royal family to uncover the truth. As long as these questions remain unanswered, the world will continue to speculate about what really happened to the people's princess and why she was taken from us so tragically, so early. Media attention. The monarchy's position has become even more scrutinized, and public interest in Diana's death has been reignited, leading to uncomfortable questions about the family's actions and their potential involvement in shaping the narrative surrounding her life and death. Prince Harry's revelations in his memoir and his and Meghan Markle's controversial departure from royal duties have only amplified the questions surrounding the monarchy's image and its accountability. The royal family's current struggles and the public's ongoing fascination with Diana's death seem inseparable. Her legacy looms large, casting a shadow over the monarchy as a whole. Many people still hold on to the idea that Diana was a victim of a larger conspiracy, and the notion that powerful individuals orchestrated her death continues to stir a deep sense of mistrust toward those in power, with the media often portrayed as playing an integral role in shaping the public's perception of events. The line between investigative reporting and manipulation of facts becomes increasingly blurred. For some, the paparazzi's relentless pursuit of Diana, especially in the moments leading up to her fatal crash, represents a bigger, more disturbing truth about the invasive nature of the press and its potential collaboration with influential parties to serve their agendas. Diana, who once wore the crown of people's princess for her compassion and charity work, became an emblem of vulnerability in the face of an unforgiving, often exploitative media landscape. Moreover, the role of the press extends beyond just Diana's personal life. It had long been used as a tool by both those loyal to the monarchy and those opposed to it. The media played a role in the public's perception of Diana as an independent woman, one who defied convention and, in doing so, posed a threat not just to the royal family's traditional values, but also to the societal order that the monarchy and its allies sought to preserve. While Diana's rebellious spirit and devotion to causes like AIDS awareness and landmine removal made her an icon of humanitarianism, they also made her an adversary to entrenched systems of power and influence, systems that had long ruled with unchallenged authority. This complex dynamic, where Diana's activism and personal choices intertwined with her role in the royal family, left her open to criticism from all angles. Her relationship with Dodi Fayed in particular added a layer of controversy, and for some, it epitomized the dangers of defying royal expectations. The idea that Diana might marry a Muslim man and raise children who could have royal ties represented an existential challenge to an institution already in flux. Dodi's background, his wealth, and his role in an industry that had close ties to media moguls made him an easy target for negative press, and by extension, so was Diana. There's no doubt that the rise of the paparazzi culture that swirled around Diana became one of the most controversial aspects of her life. Diana was hounded relentlessly by photographers, their cameras capturing every move she made, from shopping trips to private vacations. But beyond just the images, the effect of the media on Diana's psyche was profound. Burrell's claims about the media's role, whether as part of a larger, more sinister plot or simply as an out-of-control force, complicate the narrative surrounding her tragic end. Diana's own public battles with mental health and her willingness to talk about her personal struggles opened up new conversations about the treatment of public figures and their vulnerability to exploitation, making her both a symbol of resilience and a cautionary tale about the perils of fame. In the wake of Diana's death, the British monarchy, as well as the global public, were forced to confront uncomfortable truths. As the world mourned the loss of a beloved princess, the potential for a deeper political and personal conspiracy began to surface. Burrell's claims and his insinuations about the involvement of high-level officials, including potentially intelligence agencies, invite further speculation about how far people in power might go to protect the status quo. If Diana's death was indeed a carefully orchestrated event, it could suggest that even the monarchy, traditionally seen as untouchable, has its vulnerabilities, and that the mechanisms of control may extend far beyond the family itself. As the years have passed since that fateful night in 1997, the mystery of Diana's death has only deepened. The inconsistencies in the official reports and the questions surrounding the crash continue to captivate the public imagination. Some still hold to the idea that the truth has been hidden, that the real story of Diana's life and death is far more complex than we have been led to believe. As a mother, she was taken away too soon, leaving her sons, William and Harry, to navigate a royal life without her guidance and influence. Their personal lives, their decisions, and their relationship with the royal family have been profoundly impacted by the loss of their mother, adding another layer of complexity to the ongoing story. In today's world, with social media and a 24-hour news cycle, the scrutiny of public figures is even more intense. The monarchy itself has been forced to reckon with a rapidly changing media landscape, one where their every move is dissected and analyzed by millions across the globe. Diana's death continues to fuel that media machine, raising tough questions about how much power the press, the government, and the royal family should have over the public narrative. As Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties continues to make headlines, one thing remains clear. Princess Diana's legacy is still very much alive, and the questions surrounding her death remain unanswered, forcing the world to re-examine not just her tragic end, but also the forces that shaped her life and the monarchy's role in it. The continued interest in Diana's life and death speaks to her lasting impact on the world, transcending the royal family's traditional image. Diana may have been a princess by title, but she was a revolutionary in spirit. Her willingness to embrace her humanity and use her position to speak out for the voiceless challenged the very foundations of the royal institution. And while her death may have silenced her physical presence, the legacy she left behind continues to ripple through history, shaping conversations about power, freedom, and the pursuit of truth. The scrutiny surrounding the British monarchy has only intensified in the wake of recent public statements, particularly those made by Paul Burrell. His claims have added fuel to the fire of public doubt regarding the relevance and actions of the royal family in the modern world. To fully understand the broader impact of Princess Diana's legacy, it is crucial to explore the complex and often contentious relationship between the monarchy and British society. The British monarchy is more than just a symbolic institution. It is an integral part of the nation's identity, intricately connected to the government, military, and intelligence services. It represents tradition, stability, and national pride, but in today's fast-paced, ever-evolving world, it has been forced to adapt and remain relevant in the eyes of the public. Over the decades, the monarchy has faced numerous challenges, including political crises and personal scandals, and it has often employed strong measures to protect its image and preserve its influence. Princess Diana's emergence as a global figure in the 1980s and 90s came at a time when the royal family was under immense pressure. The old-fashioned, formal image of the monarchy was increasingly at odds with the desires of the public, and during an era when the media had unprecedented power, Diana brought a refreshing, relatable presence to the royal family. She was warm, compassionate, and approachable, able to connect with ordinary people in a way that had not been seen in the monarchy for years. This created a new type of royalty, one that felt more accessible to the masses. However, this very trait that made her beloved by the public caused discomfort within the royal circles. Diana's growing independence, particularly after her separation from and eventual divorce from Prince Charles, caused concern. She began to speak out on controversial and progressive issues, such as banning landmines, supporting AIDS, patients, and openly discussing mental health and domestic violence. These actions were widely praised by many, but others, particularly within the royal establishment, viewed them as risky and potentially damaging to the monarchy's carefully curated image. As Diana became more outspoken and independent, she transitioned from being a mere princess to becoming a global icon, and this shift likely created tension within the royal family. Her increasing fame and influence could have been seen as a direct challenge to the monarchy's authority, especially as she began to embody qualities that the public seemed to gravitate towards, such as empathy, authenticity, and activism. This brought her closer to her supporters, but further from those in positions of power within the royal family. Another factor that added to the complexity of Diana's situation was her relationship with Dodi Fayed, a Muslim Egyptian. For many, the idea of Diana marrying Dodi, someone from a different cultural background and religious faith, was not only unconventional, but also threatened the traditional Christian identity of the British monarchy. If Burrell's claims are accurate, it is possible that her growing independence and relationship with Dodi were seen by some powerful figures as reasons to remove her from the equation altogether. Burrell suggests that certain influential individuals viewed Diana as a problem that needed to be dealt with, and her death could have been seen as a necessary step to protect the monarchy's interests and public image. Perhaps one of the most chilling aspects of Burrell's allegations is a suggestion that intelligence agencies may have been involved in orchestrating Diana's death. Intelligence agencies, such as MI6, have been known to take extreme actions in the past to protect what they consider national security. During the Cold War, for example, these agencies were involved in covert operations, including assassinations, to safeguard national interests. Burrell's assertion that Diana's death might have been orchestrated by such agencies is not entirely far-fetched, especially given the highly secretive nature of these organizations and their history of taking drastic measures when they believe national security is at stake. What makes Burrell's claims even more disturbing is a suggestion that Diana herself was aware of the danger she faced. She shared her concerns about being targeted with Burrell and other close confidants, but at the time, many dismissed her fears. In hindsight, however, these fears appear to have been eerily prescient. The letter she wrote, in which she predicted her death in a planned car crash, has become a crucial piece of evidence in many conspiracy theories about her death. Burrell argues that the letter was not simply the ramblings of a nervous individual, but rather a legitimate expression of Diana's belief that she was in serious danger. If Burrell's claims are true, it paints a far darker picture of the people who surrounded Diana in her final months. It suggests that some individuals within her inner circle may have been complicit in the events leading up to her tragic death, or at the very least, were aware of the threats against her and did nothing to stop them. This raises troubling questions about the loyalty and integrity of those who were closest to Diana, particularly those in the royal household, who were supposed to be her protectors. But the repercussions of Burrell's claims go beyond just the royal family. Diana was loved not only in Britain but around the world, and the idea that her death was not the result of a tragic accident, but rather a deliberate act orchestrated by those who should have kept her safe, is a shocking betrayal that many people find hard to accept. If these claims are substantiated, it would represent a profound misuse of power and an unsettling level of corruption within the British establishment. The public's reaction to Burrell's statements has been mixed, with some finding it hard to believe while others are shocked and horrified by the implications. The fact that theories surrounding Diana's death continue to persist, despite the official explanation, reflects the deep sense of unease that many people still feel about the events of that fateful night in 1997. Theories about her death have ranged from claims of MI6 involvement to suggestions of a royal family conspiracy. With someone so close to Diana now making such serious allegations, even those who were previously skeptical are beginning to reconsider what might have really happened. This has led to a renewed call for a fresh, thorough investigation into Diana's death. Previous investigations attributed the crash to a combination of factors, including the driver Henry Paul's intoxication and the aggressive behavior of the paparazzi. However, Bureau's claims suggest that there may be more to the story than was initially believed. A new investigation, if conducted transparently and impartially, could finally uncover the truth behind Diana's death. The potential consequences of such an investigation could be far-reaching. If Bureau's claims are proven true, it could validate the doubts that have lingered for years about the official version of events, undermining the credibility of both the British royal family and the government. The impact of this revelation would be seismic, shaking the very foundation of trust that the British public has in these institutions. A government and monarchy already grappling with issues of accountability and public trust would face a crisis of confidence. The monarchy, which relies on public support to maintain its position, could suffer irreparable damage if it were proven that members of the royal family were involved in Diana's death. Similarly, the British government, closely tied to the monarchy, would come under intense scrutiny, and the political ramifications would be significant. On the global stage, the fallout could be even more profound. Diana was a beloved figure worldwide, and if it were found that her death was part of a conspiracy orchestrated by the British establishment, it could provoke international outrage and calls for justice, further complicating diplomatic relations. The potential consequences of uncovering the truth about Diana's death raise a crucial question. What would happen to the monarchy if it were revealed that such a powerful institution had played a role in her tragic end? Would the public continue to place their faith in a monarchy that might have been responsible for the silencing of one of its most beloved figures? The unfolding of this story might change our perception of the British monarchy forever. Institutions that are seen as unaccountable and immune from scrutiny could lose their credibility, prompting a larger discussion about power, transparency, and justice. Should these institutions be held accountable for their actions? And if so, to what extent? The idea of holding powerful figures accountable for their actions, especially when those actions may have led to the death of an innocent person, forces us to re-examine the nature of power and the ethical responsibilities of those who hold it. Like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.